Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Let me introduce myself. My name is Auni Dahliya and my student number is 27. Here, I want to present my designing course and the title is Smart English Grammar and it course designing for junior high school. Course description. This subject is designed to make it easier for students to identify part of speech in sentences, analyze words, understand tenses, and master English grammar smartly. It will thoroughly explore all material such as part of speech, verbs, phrases, clauses, sentences, and tenses. These courses are arranged simply in order, broad in scope, and easy to understand material. And the hope is that at the end of learning, students will be able to understand and master English grammar well and smartly. Move to the course objective. In this course objective, we have 5 steps. The first, understand the parts and tasks of part of speech. And the second, understand the form, function, and cases of verb. And the third, know the various phrases. And the fourth, understand the difference between sentence and clause. And the last is dissect the tenses construction. Now, move to the course outline or syllabus. And the first, we have week 1. In the week 1, we can analyzing part of speech. We have analysis of part of speech and the meaning, and then search for example words, and then apply and find examples of part of speech in sentences. And the last weekly exercise 1. Okay, I want to disclaimer at the beginning. Why do we always hold this weekly exercise? Because learning grammar requires direct practice, not just learning about theory, so that the results or knowledge obtained are maximized. And it could be that without practice, students will easily forget or less than optimal. And then in week 2, we will discuss about verb part 1. We can learn form of verbs, kind, examples, and their form changing rules, and then identify functions of verb, auxiliary or helping verb, and ordinary or main verb. And the last, weekly exercise 2. Move to week 3, we have verb part 2. In this week, we can discuss about examine the objective case. Objective case is the meaning contained or character of the verb in the sentence. An objective case has two. It is transitive and intransitive. Transitive is with object divided into two, monotransitive and detransitive verbs, and intransitive or verb that doesn't need an object. This is also divided into two, namely complete or non-linking verb and incomplete or linking verb. Usually it consists of the be family. And then review semantic case. It's the meaning possessed by verbs in a sentence. It consists of two, stative and dynamic. Stative is verb that express a condition of word for which there is no activity. And dynamic is verbs that express an activity or word for which there's activity. And then weekly exercise 3. And then we have week 4. In week 4, we have noun phrase and adjective phrase. Here, we learn the construction of noun phrase, analyze the example, and learn to make your own example. Just like objective first constructions, analyze the example and learn to create your own examples. And last weekly exercise 4. Again, I will disclaimer why this first lesson is not just one because the material requires because this material requires extra understanding and focused focus in order to get maximum understanding. And then we have week 5 and it discusses about verb phrase, adverbial phrase and prepositional phrase. Here we learn verb phrase construction, analyze the examples, and learn to create your own examples. Analyze the construction of prepositional phrase, dissect examples, and learn to make your own example. And then dissect the construction of adverbial phrase, analyze the example, and learn to create your own example. At first glance, this phrase looks like monotony, but each type has its own characteristics and differences. This method is done so that students can distinguish, analyze, and identify each type of phrase carefully. And the last is weekly exercise 5, like you saw. So don't get bored with exercise because learning grammar is not only learning about theory, but it takes real practice. Move to the week 6. Here we learn about sentence and clause. After we learn part of speech, verb, and phrase, now the continued material is sentence and clause. This material serves to strengthen students' knowledge like the application of the previous materials. So all these lessons and materials have continuity or interrelation between materials from beginning to the end. Okay, and the first is distinguish sentences and clauses. Identify the structure of sentence formers. Learn the various clauses, main clause or independent clause or and subordinate clause or dependent clause. And the last weekly exercise 6. Okay, week 7. Week 7 consists of tenses. Here we can learn about the difference between verbal tenses and nominal tenses, learn the components in verbal sentences, time, it has present, past, future, and past future, and event, it has simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. And then learn to create table of tense. Here we can explore tenses by cross multiplication of English grammar tenses. And before the last, we get to know the subject verb agreement, and the last is weekly exercise 7. And move to week 8, final exercise. We will practice doing random questions. Material comes from all weeks that are randomized and will be done by students. Unlike the weekly exercise, which only emphasizes the material in each week, the exercise in the last week or final exercise is done by making a random question from all the material that has been studied in the previous weeks. And the goal is to measure students' abilities, the extent to which students can analyze each problem and understand really the previous material. And the next is evaluation. After all steps have been passed, the last step that needs to be done is student evaluation. If students feel that there is one material that has not been understood, the teacher can re explain one material that has not been understood. Then, or if students get poor grades on one material, then the teacher can also do remedial or differentiation learning at the end of the subject. Okay, and the last part in this designing course is assessment. For the assessment criteria of these 8 weeks courses, we can take it from students' participation, students' interest, and students' ability in daily learning. Weekly exercise. and final exam. Okay, that's all from me that I can present about my designing course. Sorry if there's any mistake. And last I say, thank you. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Happy watching. Bye bye.